महाराज एक ओमकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद। तन तन गुरु ग्रंथ साहब जी महाराज, तन गुरु गोबिंद सिंह साहिब सच्चे पातशाह। कमाले करामात कायम करीम, रजा बख्श राजक रेहा को रहीम। अमा बख्शो बख्शन देव दस्तगीर, रजा बख्श रोजी देहो दिल बजीर। शहनशाह खूबी देहो रहनमू, के बेगूनो बेचूनो चूबे नमू। ना साजो न बाजो न फौजो न फर्श, खुदावंद बख्शन देव ऐशर्श। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। We are exploring the topic of karma today. Karam. In Sanskrit, the word karam means to do, action. And in Persian, karam means kirpa, blessings, grace. They are somewhat covering the gamut of our entire life. Our whole life plays between these two paradigms. An understanding of what life is comes to us either from the exploration of life or establishing ourselves, connecting ourselves to a guru. The Guru Granth Sahib is full of concepts of the way towards Brahm Gyan, the knowledge of creation, way towards an understanding of what is our source and where does life connect us, how is life defined. We are not aware of the complete picture of life, and we cannot be, because our experience of life has to do with the physical. We connect with life through our senses, what we see, hear, touch, feel. That is our knowledge of life. And this picture of the physical is not the complete picture. This is a changing paradigm of life. Everything in this senses world is constantly changing. So we only have a knowledge of some aspect of life. And when we have incomplete knowledge of any subject, any object, any situation, then our decisions are also flawed to that sense, flawed to the effect that we don't know what is life made of really. What is the fabric of life contain? It's only the body, it's only the physical, it's only the family relationships which we have in the physical, the money, wealth, all this game that we play. Is that all that life is, or is there something beyond life? Who is to experience that? How are we to question that, know it, understand it? This is actually the key of knowing what karma is, what karma is. We'll understand what karma is, where and how karma is created, where is it recorded, and what is the paradigm of karma, and is there anything beyond karma? What is the way out of karma? How is the solution from the karma world? The first question which we must ask ourselves is, what are we looking for? When we come into the physical world, knowingly or unknowingly, we are always looking for some source of happiness. But that happiness is built on the paradigm of I am. So the first validation I need is that I am, I exist. So I try and be different or the same, similar to my environment. Either I will merge with my environment and say I am like this, Or I will differ and I will say, I am not like this environment. So my defining myself is an important aspect of my life. My life starts by the foundation of my I am, the ego. That is how my life starts. There are 2 siblings or 3 siblings, and one is excelling in some subject. It can be that the next one differs from this one to define him or herself. So you may see the opposite happening. So you will say one is good and the other excels to be opposite of good, because he or she has a need to define herself or himself and feel the living I am. In psychology, when they heal, emotional healing, they reinforce that, the name of the person. They reinforce that, because what happens in psychology is that when we get depressed, or our concept of I is shattered, our concept of I is lost somewhere, our concept of whether I am or what I am is confused, and I'm broken. I'm broken in the sense I can't define myself, my structure, I don't have a target, I don't know where I'm going, I'm in chaos. So by taking my name or the person who needs the healing, in the conversation, when they keep taking the name, they reinforce the concept of I. So I is my necessity. If I am not, then what is? There's a very long talk which J. Krishnamurti has on this subject. And he says this only, that if there is no I, then what is there? So we hold on to this idea that if there is no I, then what is there? We need to understand this in the paradigm of what the Guru Granth Sahib is saying, what Guru Nanak is saying. And then when the I is there, then the concept of I do. I am doing, I am the doer. And the moment this I becomes the doer, then the I is to be judged on what the doing is, whether the doing is good, bad, ugly. Guru Nanak Sahib Maharaj, when he talks about creation, when he talks about life, he brings forth the concept of hukum. Hukum is a very vast word in itself. But some of the ways on how we can look at hukum is, one, hukum is the order of the creation. Hukum are the laws which govern creation. Hukum are the laws which govern me, which govern my life. And hukum is the entire creation by itself. Hukmi homanakar. The whole creation has come about by some order, by some intelligence, by some piece by piece connection between the micro, macro and the quantum. What we see with the microscope and what we see with the telescope is all connected. I'll give you a small example. There are certain elements which are the heavy elements in nature. They are created only in some specific incidences. For example, iron is only created when there is a supernova. Supernova is the death of a star which is above 5 solar masses, 5 times the size of our sun. When such a star collapses, there is a kickback of that collapse. That creates the conditions of creating the element, many elements, one among them is iron. The iron which runs in our blood is created in a supernova, millions and billions of light years away in time and space. See how life is connected. There is no other way this iron is made. We live on the basis of this iron, which is in our blood. That is the exchange of oxygen, happens through the hemoglobin. I'm just giving an example of how life is connected, and there is no separation of life. It's all, like Guru Nanak Sahib Maharaj says, Sito Sita Me Mamai. It's all sewn together. It's in continuum. There are no breaks. And anything which happens anywhere, everywhere, is all affecting us in many ways, and we don't know how it affects us. In fact, we don't even know how our own actions affect us. We are not in the apt environment to judge that what I am doing will affect me in which way. I have a small micro vision of life. I have a vision of the physical reality of life. And all my judgments are on the basis of this physical reality. But even that paradigm is not my controlled. A very, very small aspect of what my life is being played in is controlled by me. We saw a few years ago the COVID crisis. Most of us had nothing to do with it. We are not controlling it. But it affected us to the depth that it affected our lives and took it to a point where we were all at risk of death. So this is how life is. We have something happening somewhere which will affect us and which we are not aware of. This is the ignorance of hukam. And it is an insulation between hukam and I am. The hukam, the order of creation, can only be known when I drop my barriers to my environment. Imagine a droplet which is sealed by oil and separated from the ocean, the sea, or a tub of water. The droplet looks separated. It's made of the same material, but it is yet separated. That is the environment we are in. My I is separated from my environment. I am is a creation of separation from its environment. It's not the mergence. If this separation drops, the I will go, and it will merge back to its own creation, to where it's come from. Our topic today is karam, and the foundation of this karam is I, because I am the doer. If this I, the doer, goes away, then karam goes away. Then doing goes away. Then I am not the doer anymore, and I pay no repercussions for what is happening or what is being done, because I am not the doer. I cannot separate the doer from its repercussions. If I am the doer, then I am responsible for what I am doing, and I have to pay the price. So what is the hukam for karam, for the doing? Maharaj says, Punni papi akhadna hai. Kar karna likh la jao. आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ. Let us pay some very critical importance to what is being said. What he is saying is that good and bad, pun and pap, sin and good, are not just mere words. Akhadna hai. Kar karna. Kar, as we do, it is recorded. Karna, likh la jao, it is recorded. Jao, where is it recorded? It is recorded with the doer. Likh la jao. As I am doing, it is recorded immediately within myself, within my man, within my record. So the karam has a very important link with the man, with the mind. Ape beej ape hi khao. whatever we sow, we will have to reap that. We will have to harvest that. Nanak hukmi avo jao. And in this karam world, wandering is the environment. We have to constantly wander. And wandering is our space of play of karam, of the ego. There is no rest in this karam world. So it is recorded in my man. If I believe in reincarnation, then all the incarnations I have lived are all recorded in this man. And in them are the anagrams, the energy centers, which are created in my lifetimes. What is the energy center? The pain is recorded intensely. The joy is forgotten. That is how we live. What is painful for me, that I sustain, I hold on to. What has been joyous, I enjoy it and let it go. This is how I live. If there is someone out there who lives the opposite, who lives through pain the same way as he lives through joy, which is what Maharaj says, Sukh dukh ko tum sam kar jano. That means that whoever would live in this way would live very light, would not be holding on to anything. Whatever has happened will be experienced and will be gone. Whether it is something intensely good or intensely painful, he or she will live very differently from us. For example, the person would laugh at life. Laugh through all experiences. Laughter is today used as a therapy by many people because it is one way of transcending the ego. Laughter gives us the breath and the love and the energy to transcend. It's a temporary device, but it's effective temporarily. So the person who learns how to laugh at life, laugh at loss as much as he or she laughs at gain, doesn't hold on to gain and doesn't hold on to loss. Such a person is going through the experiences of life and not holding on to anything. So such a person will be very light. Light in the sense, will not be bound by intensity of regret, intensity of pain. And of course, there has to be a reason for this attitude. Does the person have a complete picture of life for doing this? Does the person know life as much as we do or much more than what we do? We don't know that. But if we find someone out there who lives very lightly, whose mannerisms are not intense, who lives through pain and pleasure in the same way, doesn't hold on to anything, doesn't ask this question, why this happened to me? This question will be asked by the ego. It will be asked by I am. How do I get pain? Why am I getting pain? Who's the asker? Who's the one who's asking this question? I am asking this question. The ego is asking this question. If the ego is not intense, why he or she will ask this question? If you go through the lives of many saints, many people who are exalted in their attitudes of life, right from the time of Socrates, 35 BC, before Christ, right 3,000 years ago, we find that they go through a lot of pain. And what is the reason for the pain? Athens was a democracy when Socrates was killed. He was murdered. Murdered in the sense he was murdered for giving his views to the youth. They gave him an option: go away from Athens or we will kill you. It was a democracy. Right now also we live in a democracy. So the major opinion was anti-Socrates. Socrates did not say why I am being killed. That is the amazing dialogue. If you go through the dialogues of Socrates at that time, not in one place he is saying, I want to escape this death. Why I am being killed. What did I do wrong? He never says that. He in fact says, I am not going to run away from this. I have made my choices and I will live with it. And he gives the reasoning for why he does not fear death. Now this opens a big chapter for us. If karam is the governing concept of our whole life, and if every right will lead us to do right and every wrong will become painful for us, then what wrong did Socrates do? If you extend this in thought, you will come right up to today and you will find that those who are doing right are also being wronged with. There are so many examples. People are being put into jail who have not committed their sins. It is hundreds of people, not one. So our understanding of karam is also flawed. We are saying that I should not be wronged, but my neighbor, when he or she is wronged, is all right. This is what it means. Because right in front of us, there are thousands of people being punished, harassed. A young girl, 14 years of age, being raped. What wrong did she do? Now we can put this logic and say she had past life of wrong. But who knows this past life for us to give this logic? People died in the Kumbh Mela and they said their karam killed them. We don't say that when some of our kin will die like that. We have different logics for different people. We said the poor die because of their karam. But if my family was there, then they have been wronged. So our logics are very confusing. If we really look at how we look at life, we have very limited vision of life and it is very egocentric. I am. And we remember this wrong and right when it comes to me, not when it comes to the other. When a beggar meets me in the street, should I say, is the karam wrong or right here? What should I say? Or when a simple person deals with a extra vigilant business person and he gets cheated, or he's simple, gives it away, is his karam bad or good? The theory of karam has to do with the ego. The theory of karam has to do with our doing, that is true. And it is the wandering life. So, if you really intensely look at it, most evil will happen in this world by those who have done very good karam. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib had a meeting in Bahadurgarh when he was on his way to Delhi. He came to Delhi. He was not arrested and brought to Delhi. He came to Delhi. And the Peer who was living in Bahadurgarh asked him, Maharaj, why are you going? You know what is going to happen there. And Guru Sahib gave a very clear answer. He says, there is too much good this man has done and that is why he is causing so much pain. If I throw this body on his head, on his karam, then they will get finished. And he cannot do wrong for very long. Theek kar phod dalis sir. This is the logic. And this logic is not what we will use. What is our logic for life is I should be happy. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, of course, is making a choice where his family and his Sikhs are all going to go through huge turmoil. Huge turmoil. For what? For someone else. So where is the theory of karam? Of course, the Guru is not living with the theory of karam. There is some other paradigm out there which is more powerful than karam. And karam is subservient. The theory of karam is subservient to that paradigm. That relationship we should explore. Because then it gives us a better understanding of what are we looking at life through. Because a lot of people, a lot of us, make these choices of karam and say, I did all wrong, right, why am I in pain? And we try and cheat the environment as well. We ran a plantation program a decade ago, maybe more. And there was one lady who used to come and give fruit trees. Now I found that interesting. Getting fruit trees, good idea. At least you're giving away trees, give away fruit trees. The people will feed also on it. If you go to Chandigarh, all the trees planted in Chandigarh on the roadsides are mango trees. Now they have put contract on those mango trees. They put theka on them. But otherwise, they are public property. And people used to eat those mangoes. So it was a good idea. It was good earth, good. So might as well plant. What are we doing in this? This lady had this idea. But I didn't understand her sinister till she spoke to me. And she said, the karam of this fruit will come back to me. That was I found that really very humorous. But then the logic of who made the tree should also then come about, because I didn't make the tree. Then the creator's take on the tree and the fruit, and I am giving away that fruit. Who is to answer for that then? If you understand me, she is giving away the tree, the fruit tree. But who created the fruit tree? What about that? That she's completely blanked out. And she says, I am the giver, so I should get the return. That is how we live. Very short-term view of life. And we like to cheat. This is our cheating. This is our way of cheating environment. Because the creator of the fruit is not us. And exactly that is the point, that if I know the creator of the fruit, then my whole life will change. And if I am thankful to that creator, just like I am saying, the person who will eat from this fruit tree should be thankful to me. Just like that, I should be thankful to the creator of the fruit tree. This is the theory of karam. In one of the Shabads, Bhagat Tirlochan and his wife had a big argument. Most of these saints had very difficult lives in their physical realities of life. Right from Kabir, Namdev, Ravidas, Tirlochan had no children, and he didn't have much money either. So his wife would be cursing God, the creator, all the time. She would be saying, what kind of miserable life have you given me? And one day he got really upset with this attitude. And he told her, Dukrit Sukrit Tharo Karamri. Why are you cursing the creator? And he gives her examples of how Krishna, Ram, even the avatars of God have gone through their karma. All of them had to live through their pain. And he says that karma cannot be written away. It cannot be destroyed. We will have to live through that karma. We will visit this in a very interesting story. But then he says in the end, that is why I japo naam, because the karam world I cannot control. That is why I live in the naam world. So this is a different paradigm. We will explore the naam world. Can karma be rewritten? Can it be changed? Can the repercussions be changed? There is a story of Shamir and Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj in the Suraj Prakash Granth. Shamir was in the area of Malwa, and Maharaj 2-3 times with happiness offered him, and he said, "You ask what you want." And he 3 times asked Guru Sahib, "I don't want to take birth again. You help me, and I don't want this 84. This is what is being, the term used is 84. Meri 84 cut deo." Maharaj didn't say anything to him. And after he said this 3 times and he answered the same answer 3 times, Shamir slept one night and he had a dream. And in his dream he saw multiple lives, miserable lives, very painful, very abject poverty, difficult conditions, family, children, food. And he goes through this whole experience of all these lifetimes. And in the last, he is climbing up a tree to take some things which he can take for his children, some food. I'm forgetting exactly what. And he falls from the tree and his sleep open. He wakes up. In the morning, when he goes out for his morning routine, he finds the seeds of what he had dreamt of in his excreta. So he is really baffled, because first of all, this whole experience of this dream has shaken him completely, and he says, what is this happening? Where was I? What did I do? And how are this physical reality connecting to my dream world? He goes to court. Guru Sahib is sitting there, and Guru Sahib asks him, "Why are you ashen today? You are completely shell-shocked. What is happening? What has happened to you?" Shamir says, "Maharaj, I'm not aware, but I had this dream. I lived through many lives in this dream." Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj then tells him, "You have been asking me for some time that please help me not take birth again. And then because you were asking that, you had so many lives left. Those were then precipitated as a dream experience. So you went through your lives, you lived through your lives, and your karma was converted in that way. So karma, the Guru's intervention can reduce the pain of the karma. This is how the karma world is, the law of karma. The other thing which karma does is it binds us. Kar karna, likh le jao, ape beej, ape hi khao. That means whatever I will sow will bind me to its repercussions, whether it is good or bad. Now, if you know that I am doing something and it is going to be good for me, but I don't have the freedom to leave that environment anymore. If I am in a room and I am told, whatever you do in this room, you have to pay for in this room before you leave the room, then whatever thought I had, whatever action I did in this room, I have to pay for, and I will never be able to escape this room then, because I'm constantly thinking, I'm constantly doing. Good or bad, it is binding me. So the karma world is a trap. It's highly overrated, and it traps me. It binds me to my karam, whether it is good or bad. Anything which binds me is going to be painful because it's not my freedom. I am no longer free to do what I want to do because the karam is binding me. And most of us can experience that pain in our lives. We want to change some things which we can't change. Some things are bound by the way our past was. So this is how the karam world is. It binds us. The karam is recorded in our man. So whatever we do with our man, involvement of our man, that gets recorded in our man. Suppose we have done something physical and our mind is not involved in it, then it doesn't get recorded. I can do the part and my mind is wandering somewhere else. It doesn't get recorded. I am thinking of some wrong I want to do to someone. My mind is involved with that, while I'm trying to say I'm doing something good. So the opposite gets recorded. There is a small story which you probably heard about a sadhu who used to live in front of a prostitute's house. So the prostitute used to look at this sadhu's house and she used to be very enamored and she used to feel solace and she used to appreciate the life of the sadhu. So her dhyan was in the sadhu. But the sadhu was living in front of a prostitute's house and his mind was involved in what the prostitute was doing and how she may be enjoying her physical pleasures and how there must be a lot of fun in it. So sadhu was living a physical life of a sadhu but experiencing the life of a prostitute. The prostitute was living the physical life of sexuality, sexual experiences, but her mind was in a spiritual realm. So we are actually sometimes doing the opposite of what our karam is. Our karam has to do with where our mind is, not where our physical body is. We could be sitting in darshan in our house, and we could be in the darshan, in the place where we should be, and thinking of our house. Our experiences will be very different. And that is why they say that most atheists live in a spiritual place. The spiritual environment doesn't inspire them, so they don't think of that spiritual environment. I could be imagining the Darbar Sahib every day, but somebody who goes to Darbar Sahib every day could be imagining a better life than what he thinks he is. So what I'm trying to say is, our physical reality doesn't always convert into spirituality. Our mind's intention and where we are going with our man, with our life, that defines on what the results of life will be. There's a big question. Most of us don't think of this. Where is our life going? We don't have the ability to assess that. What are our choices? Most of our choices are physical. What is my job, my career, my children? Which car do I drive? Which soap I use? Most of our lives are to do with all these things. We don't choose where should my life be going and what is life for. We don't ask this question. Most of us don't. What is life made of? Where does life take me? What is the possibility, the best possibility of a life? Is there such an opportunity? Who is the one who knows this aspect of life? Do I know? Can I know? Do I have the potential to know? I am looking at the life of Karam and saying, my today's pain may be for yesterday. But what about today's doing and tomorrow? Maharaj explains that there is a concept of conscious wrong and unconscious wrong as well. Man achet paap se dar re. That which I don't even know. He says, be aware of that as well. Then he says, this recording of karam, it will not end. Lekha kathu na chutiye. Hum khin khin pulanhar. Bakshanhara bakshade, Nanak par utar. This will never end. We are committing errors every second, every fraction of a second. He says bakshish, which is the other karam, blessings, grace, Guru Prasad. That's the only way out of the karam world. Otherwise, every karam is trapping me to a lifetime, physical life of pain, wandering, confusion, chaos. Imagine a life where I have done everything right, everything good. And I will then assume now I am going to get a lot of joy from this life. For a minute, let me assume, yes, I have done everything right, I have done no wrongs, so I'll get everything. I'll become the most powerful person of my environment. I'm going to be the king. I will have all the joys. I'll have all the choices, all the freedoms. Now you make a list of how much wrong or right a king does. The most powerful person in the environment. And how happy or sad he or she is. Doesn't guarantee any happiness. It guarantees need environments. It defines the person having the authority to do. And then is when people do most wrong. There's a very common saying, power corrupts. And power corrupts absolutely. So he who has done everything right gets a very good deal. And he makes a mess of it again. Because it's the ego chasing a desire of freedom. It doesn't have the concept of freedom. Ego doesn't have that concept of joy which we are looking for. Ego is a wandering mind. It has no solutions. It's a zero-sum game. What I mean by that is that whatever ego will experience, good or bad, goes away with the ego. And the ego has a lifetime of the physical body. And then it gets shredded and then another ego is formed. So the ego is transcending many lives. It has many families, many children, many gurus, good or bad. And then this wandering doesn't cease. Doing is the paradigm of karam. We keep doing. Now let's analyze what Maharaj says about karam. Maharaj says that in this world, there are two paradigms. There are two dimensions of life. One is the ego dimension, where karam is the governing body, governing energy. What I do, right or wrong, is governed by this karam. Now let's look at the shlok in the end of the Japji. Pavan Guru, Pani Pita, Mata Tartmat, Dis Raat Doi Dai Daya, Khele Sagal Jagat. Changayaiyan Buriyaiyan, Vache Taramhadur, the Karam. Changayaiyan Buriyaiyan is governed by Taram, by Hukam. Kar kar karna likh le jao, ape beej ape hi khao. Karmi apo apni, ke nede ke dur. Whatever we are doing, we will have to pay for it sooner or later. But then he changes the gear. He takes us to the other paradigm. Jinni naam te aaya, gaye mushakkat kaal. Nanak te mukutle, keti chutti naal. They are the ones who live the paradigm of naam. They are the ones who are not bound anymore. Keti chutti naal. They are free. Jinni naam te aaya. Gaye Mashakkat Kal. They are the ones who have profited. Mashakkat. They have worked the right way. Nanak te mukh ujle. They have exalted themselves, improved themselves, found perfection. Keti chutti naal. And many with them will get freed. So the ego paradigm has built in it the hukum of right and wrong. But the right and wrong is not the absolute dimension. Let's explore this. There is a story of Guru Nanak Sahib and Sajjan Thug. Sajjan Thug was a murderer. He used to kill the wealthy people who stayed in his homestay, his resort, and he would take away their money. And that was his plan for Guru Nanak also. When Maharaj is staying there, he planned to kill him at night. But Guru Sahib got to know the intentions and the reality of the person. And he said a Shabad there, and which transformed Sajjan Thug. Sajjan Thug was born a thug. He was a murderer. He was a wrongdoer, a papi. But the Guru's bakshish, prasad, transforms him to a sant. There's an example of Baba Bidhi Chand. Baba Bidhi Chand used to be a thief. And he met Guru Arjan Sahib. And Guru Maharaj asked him, "What do you do?" He tells Maharaj, "Guru Sahib, I am a thief. मैं ताड़वी आदमी हाँ, चोरी करदा." Guru says, "Then now you do chori of Naam." So he changes his paradigm from the Karam world to Naam world. So am I saying that we keep doing wrong? I am not saying that. I am saying that understand that the Karam theory, the Karam world is connected to the ego. But the reality of life is the ego is playing in an environment of the owner of this ego, the creator of this ego, who is beyond right and wrong. Now, we all have heard this story of Anguli Mal. He used to kill people and cut their fingers and tie it in a necklace, and he used to wear it on his neck. Anguli Mal. Gautam Buddha went to that forest where he lived, and they were face to face. Now Anguli Mal by any right is now a miserable person. He has done wrong, he will be miserable, which is absolutely right. But there is something here which is important for us to understand. That means the paradigm of right and wrong is not the governing principle of the absolute reality of life. Because we all are doing wrong to degrees. It's only a degree. Then what is it that governs this freedom of life? The way to enjoy the reality of life. And what is the reality of life? And what am I doing here? What are we all doing in this lifetime? If the karam is not to define my absolute reality, then what defines my absolute reality? It's a question which is important to ask. Whether I do a job in a bank, or whether I do a job in a business, or whether I have a factory, or whether I have a shop, whether I have children, none of this governs my absolute reality. None of it. Then what governs my absolute reality? Maharaj says that these are two possibilities. We remain in the ego paradigm and live through our karams and keep wandering. Karmi karmi hoy vichar. You are governed by karam. This is our principle then. Then we can play our games. We say, I'm going to do good and get only good. I'll never do wrong. Well, I don't know what is right and wrong. In many places, I don't know what is right and wrong. In many places, right is wrong for someone else. My right is somebody else's pain. Then what is right? The two countries fight a war. Both of them are praying to God. And who is right and wrong? God is very confused in who is to be assisted and who will win. And who wins this game in this world? Who are the winners? That's the question to ask. Is the sinner the loser and the do-gooder the winner? Then where is this do-gooder? Where do they live? Because I don't see them. I only see people who are greedy. They are doing good, but they are always greedy. Then the greed never ends. Whereas Guru Nanak says in his defining element, he says that Varn Chakana, don't eat alone, distribute and eat. That's the reason he says it. So that the greed goes away. And why does the greed go away? Because that we live beyond the paradigm of Karam. We live in the paradigm of Nam. That's the defining element. And while we are doing this Nam, we don't cause pain to others then. It's a literal impossibility. And if we do, then we are unknowingly doing it. Or if it doesn't govern us, we have no control on it. Somebody creates a bad environment, the whole air gets polluted and everybody is breathing this air. And he doesn't know he's doing it, or he or she doesn't know. So there are so many wrongs and rights which are happening in this world. But where is my future? How am I to find peace? How am I to find happiness? And where does that happiness exist? This is my key question. Does it exist in the Karam world or not? Because that will tell me everything. Guru says it doesn't. It says that right will bring us right and wrong will bring us wrong. The wrong will cause pain. The right will give us an opportunity to find some freedom of peace. But it doesn't end. The trap goes on. The question is this, that this change is not permanent. It's a continuous exercise. So if somebody is a king or a queen with a lot of good karams, then he or she in that comfort is not going to keep doing right. It will change. The gear will change. So my doing is governing me, my tomorrow. Then they ask about these karams, sanchit karam. I don't think those details are relevant, because those karams, all karams can be changed to a degree with the presence of the Guru, but it will take the effort. Even death can be transcended with the Guru's presence. But it's not an easy sum game. Those who win in this world are those who have Naam with them. Everybody else goes loser. Maharaj has explained this in the Japji. He says these are the two possibilities. He tells us that Gaye mushakkat kaal, nanak te mukhujle keti chutti naal. Then he tells us how to do it as well. He tells us that Shabad is the paradigm with which we live. The man, so the exploration of the mind, exploring our man is an important element of knowing life. Knowing my future, knowing my tomorrow, knowing my pain and pleasure and joy. It has to do with my man. So I must explore my mind. Is man ko koi khojo pai. Search this mind. How do I search? I search beyond the thoughts, meditate on the Shabad. Shabad becomes the Guru. And that kados, that cleanses the mind. One way which Guru Sahib tells us we can brighten our future is that we make our mind less complicated, which is what I was saying earlier, when somebody learns how to laugh at life. Well, those who have really excelled laughed at death. Here in Seesganj, Guru Sahib is right here. The example of it is literally laughing at death and saying there is no death. Because Maharaj is walking into death with his Sikhs, and yet he is unaffected. So of course there is a reality beyond death which Guru is aware of and which we are not aware of. Our whole paradigm is very limited picture of physical life. तो महाराज से जिस मन को कोई खोजो पाई, तन छूटे मन कहाँ समाई. Where does the mind go when the body is gone? That understanding comes by exploring the mind. खोजो पाई. So, in the picture of Naam, in the picture of Guru Prasad, in the picture of Guru and Sikh, there the story gets rewritten, no matter what the karma is. That is why he says, Gun gama din raat nanak chaho eho. Guru says, I want to keep praising the Creator, praising the person who has made the tree, the fruit tree. Like I am insisting I should be rewarded for giving a fruit tree. Guru says the opposite. Gungama din raat. And the Gurbani defines this, that he who sings the praise of the Creator is the one who is blessed. Let us not underestimate this. What does it mean? It means, first thing, that I don't live the I idiom. Of course, when I'm going to praise someone else, I have to go beyond myself. It's very difficult for us to praise. Why? Because it takes away from our ego. When I actually praise someone else, my ego diminishes. I diminishes. So when I praise the Creator's presence, my I reduces, and in that way I cleanse my mind. And this is how he says the Vadde Pag, gifted, the blessed are created in this way. The Sant is created in this way, which is the ultimate paradigm. Guru Granth Sahib is a way, is a subject, is the root way of creating Brahmgyanis, which is what Guru Sahib is again and again in every Shabad saying, the Naam and Man are to be connected. Naam is a concept where the ego is to be dropped. Only then Naam can be experienced. Home Naame naal virodh hai, doye na bas ek thaye. So Maharaj, what is this I? I is a temporary experience. It is not a permanent reality. And my ability to be able to drop the I will take away all the wrong karmas of life, which is what happened with Angulimal, which is what happened with Sajjan Thag. Their ability to give up this I governed their relationship with the Guru. I am a very good person. I do very good. Was a very wealthy man. And he was attached to his I. So Guru never went to his house. I can be a good person, and that good becomes my wall between me and my Guru. And I can be a sinner, but if I am willing to drop my I, it will merge me with my Guru. Who drops the I? Who meets the Guru with love? Only one who is seeking beyond the physical reality. Only one who is saying, I can't handle this I anymore. I want to meet and go beyond this I to something different. This wandering is enough. Do we do that, Maharaj? Do we go into Naam? Do we go beyond our ego self and go into this new paradigm of the Naam? Experience it within ourselves. Rejoice in the understanding that I am not. Because that is the reality of life. And when I am in that phase, then there is no karam, because I am no longer. Sant jana mein har jas gayo, कोट जन्म के दुख गवायो. Pain of 1,000 crore lifetimes go away when I drop my ego mind, go beyond my ego self. When I go into Naam, जन नानक को गुरह मत दीनी, जप हर भवजल तरना. How to go beyond the ego life is jap man satnam, sada satnam. Find Naam in the man. Japna, jap ji, mool mantar. Any other Shabad. गाविए सुनिए, मन रखिए पाओ. दुख पर हर, away with pain. सो कर ले जाए. सुनिए मनिए मन कीता पाओ, अंतर्गत तीरथ मल लाओ. I listened to the Guru and my karam world is gone. अमृत बाणी हर हर तेरी, सुन सुन जीवा परमगत मेरी. By listening to the Shabad of the Guru with dhyan, I go into the Amrit world, where there is Naam, where there is no death, where my happiness is unconditional, where karam doesn't govern me, Naam does. Again and again and again Maharaj says, Gun gama din raat nanak chao eho. Sing the praises of the Creator, morning, evening. Go beyond the ego self. Live the ego world, but go beyond it. And you will transcend pain. You will transcend wandering. You will transcend your experience of the transient. You will transcend death. Maharaj is telling us to live the ego and yet go beyond it, and let Naam govern the ego also. So then this right or wrong gets redefined. This whole family gets redefined. The whole experience of life gets redefined. Suniye maniye man ki tapao. Antargat tirath mallao. Within my man there is a tirath. There is a center of energy, joy, love, happiness within my man. And this is the gun the Creator can give me. Kit kit bid jag upje purkha, kit kit tuk binas jai. How does pain come, Maharaj? And how do I go beyond pain? Haume vich jag upje purkha, naam visariye dukh pai. The haume creates the life which we live. But forgetting Naam causes pain. So while living the ego paradigm, we must live beyond it in the Naam. And every day live that Naam environment. Let it govern my life. And I will become a lighter person. But living a very intense life of Naam. Naam is a very intense phase of life. It transcends death. It opens the door of Anand. It opens that experience which people are seeking for thousands of lifetimes, and they are not able to find it. There's one experience of the Shabad of Ajamal, one example of Ajamal in the Guru Granth Sahib, when he says that Jagat ko jogi sir, the yogi is seeking that state which Ajamal has got in a second, in less than a second, by the kirpa, by blessings of the Guru. There is a question from Okay, you're repeating the question, no issue. We can go through 1,000 times the same question as long as it should be clear. Could you share a few lines on if there is a difference between ego and self-respect? Dropping the ego, it also means living naturally through disrespect? No, it doesn't mean that. See, the environment of the ego has its own rules, and let's not mix that with the Naam world. Ego doesn't mean lack of self-respect. It means you must live, you must create your balance of life. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you can be violated by anyone or insulted by anyone. It doesn't mean that. You must. For example, it's in Guru Gobind Singh Sahib's life. Maharaj had some very nice gifts which he received from his Sikhs. There was an elephant who used to wash his feet, and there were other gifts which were very valuable. Medini Prakash, the Hindu Raja who used to live in that area, eyed those things and he wanted them. Now, does that mean that Guru Sahib would have given it and said, okay, yes, take it? No, Maharaj knew that he will not give it back, so he never gave it to him. So, having no self-respect is having no life. But don't confuse this self-respect with the Naam. They are two different planes. Naam is a relationship with the Guru and the Creator, not with the next person around you. Yes, if you feel love from Naam and you pass it on to your environment, that's nothing wrong with that. But by any means, being disrespected is not a sign of being in Naam. It doesn't mean that. In fact, the opposite. You keep yourself rooted in Naam, but maintain your self-respect and your ego as well. Ego has its own rules. We live by those rules. For example, you go to a workplace and you say, should I then work for free? No, it doesn't mean that. If your work requires you to get a certain remuneration, you should define that and let that be governed. It has nothing to do with Naam, and Naam doesn't intervene in that. I hope I am clear. If there is any, but this, you keep revisiting this, Karishma ji, so it may help to explore this in its entirety and then do away with it, because your paradigm energy is stuck here. There is something which is really disturbing your mind. So you need to be free. One evil or one wrong which is happening with this experience of yours is that you are trapped in this. That's not a healthy thing. So find a way out. By no means you should be violated or be insulted by anyone. Ji, anyone else has some questions? Otherwise we will end today's session in the Gungama Din Raat Nanak Chahoe Ho. If you have any question, you can raise your hand or you can write out your question. So no questions. Then I am going to ask for a volunteer for Anand Sahib. Any of us can volunteer for Anand Sahib? Naam, Pammiji, Naam I find, but the mind gets distracted. So, sometimes even while listening to the Kirtan, most often listening to the Kirtan, the thing is this, that meditating on the Shabad is an exploration of our inner mind. It's our wandering into our in the garden of the man. One line, and I link it to some incident from my real life past. Okay, so I will say 2 or 3 things. See what works for you. One is ignore your thoughts. They are not your thoughts. Where are your thoughts coming from? Question is this: when I go into my man, I get thoughts. What are these thoughts? What is the source of these thoughts? If you can find your source, it will help you. These thoughts are from your ego mind. Let them come and go. Don't trap them. They are not you. They are not your reality. They are a changing paradigm. They are the change on the top of the ocean. The ocean, the waves on top of the ocean. They are not the reality of the bottom of the ocean, which is our inner mind. So ignore this man. Ignore the thoughts. You can't do it. Finding it difficult. Seva is the other way. Do some small seva where you don't need to apply your mind. So Simran and Seva. For example, you go to the langar, you clean or you make roti, distribute some food, do some physical action. And while doing it, your mind will find rest. And then when you have found enough rest, then bring it to Simran. So stimulate your mind with Seva. Stimulate the mind. Pammiji, one essential aspect that is necessary for us to understand. Mind will go where I want it to go. If I am going to say I am going to hold on to my past experiences, then my mind will keep going there. Let me just say I don't want to go to my past experiences. I want to experience Naam. Then the third thing you can do is find Sangat. Do Naam Japana with Sangat, where your identity is not an issue. Because mostly when we go to this Naam Simran also, we make it a mela. There will be tea party and this and that, and who are you and who am I and where are you from, and all that you avoid. You just physically focus on the Simran part, and that is like an operation of the man. Try and do this. Then let's see where it goes. There are 3 things which I said. 1, can't do Simran, find one Shabad, sing the Shabad. You can't do it, gaviye, suniye, man rakhiye pao. Use this method. Can't do it, do Seva. Can't do it, find Sangat. We do in 4 o'clock, 4:30 to 6:30, 5-6 times, 3-4 times a day, a week we are doing Simran. Sometimes in my house, sometimes in Khan Market, Gurdwara Sahib. Most welcome to join us. But we don't say, hello, how are you? We don't want to meet anybody who's there. We only make our exploring the Simran as our personal inner experience and no identities. The person who trained me in this said never do it in light, because you don't want to see the other person's face also. That also leaves a reflection on your mind. The psychology gets affected. Your mind should be going inward. I'm not able to forget and forgive someone who has hurt me without knowing the truth. Well, Try and do that then. Try and forget, and for your own good. Try and go beyond this experience, otherwise it will tie you down. You should share it with someone. Maninderji, share your experience so that your burden gets released. Share it with someone who has the ability to not judge you and who can just listen to you and be with you. There's a very nice Shabad there's a nice share which Ghalib used to say, ये कहाँ की दोस्ती है, बने हैं दोस्त ना से, कोई गम गुजार होता, कोई चार साज होता. What is this kind of friendship where all these people are advisors? बने हैं दोस्त ना से, meaning giving nasiyat. Yeah, Sujan Singh Park and Khan Market are the same. We do Monday, Wednesday and Friday there, and 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, we do at my house. I am in Maharani Bagh in South Delhi. And then sometimes in the evenings, like next Saturday, we have in Lodi Road. So Maharaj, he says that koi gam guzar hota, somebody would be with me and just listen to my pain and help me heal. So the healing happens with sharing. It's a very powerful tool. Use it. Pammi, I tried to reason out for both parties' perspective of both and then tried to forgive. Sometimes forgetting can be tough. Yes, it can be tough for longer periods of time. Fair enough, it can be tough, but let's drop the mind completely. Drop the mind. When you do Simran, there is no thought. That is how the intensity of the Simran is. We can go there. There is no thought, there is no experience of the past, which you are, at least for that time where we are doing this Simran, there is no me. There is only Guru and my prayer to my Guru. Maharani Bagh address, Maninderji, is we are at 9 Southern. You can join the group. So if you can send your number and we can add you to the group. There's a group where we post every day the kirtan which we do, and that will also have the address. 9 Southern Avenue is the address otherwise. I'll note down your number and we'll add you to the group. So Ji Maharaj. Welcome, Ji Maharaj. Any other questions? Then we can proceed with Anand Sahib. Indrajit, Ranjit ji, can you do Anand Sahib today? Yes, Seva Pammi ji will help. Try and do it. ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਆਲ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ